XRP rallied over 3% yesterday. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the technical analysis on XRP, sharing my thoughts and opinions as to where I think the price action is heading next. As I get into today's video, smash that like button if you're new, subscribe, and let's take a look at what's going on here with XRP's price action. So here we have XRP paired up with USDT. We're on the 1 hour Binance chart here. And as you can kind of see, we've pushed right the way back up to the 200 hourly EMA. This was after a bit of a move to the downside, a bit of volatility. All around kind of midday UTC, so we can see 1200 hours, 1300, 1400 hours. We did see that push to the downside, which is what we were talking about yesterday with that idea of a zigzag pattern playing out, which I do think is what is going on right here. And now, of course, we've seen the bounce to the upside. Obviously, we were looking at this previous highs, and this now actually looks to me like we have a 335. So we come down, we push up, and we come down, and we are complete here. Okay, and for that structure to kind of be complete, it is a little irregular, but it is what it is at the moment. So we can see that the push to the upside, I'm going to actually just remove that so we don't clutter up the charts, has found resistance up in this previous area of resistance that we're talking about as well, at 53.93 to 54.17. So we've kind of briefly found support on the 50 EMA. That's the blue line coming through the chart here. That's currently sat at 53.5 cents. And we are finding a little bit of support on the 50 simple moving average at 53.59 cents. But the resistance is up here, and it is a bit of a problem. Obviously, this is the area where we were expecting the price to move up towards yesterday, kind of coming into that kind of typical range of expectations. This actually is a different structure, but still consequently a area of resistance. So although we did move up into our area of expectations, it was after we actually moved down. So it's a little irrelevant, but it is kind of a pocket of resistance that's up here. So for the most part, XRP is at a bit of a crossroads, right? We can see ourselves getting sandwiched between the 50 EMA, 50 SMA, and the 200 EMA. And we're basically waiting to see what it does next so we can trade accordingly. Okay, if we take a look at our stochastic RSI, you can see here that we are looking for downward momentum. We are looking for the momentum for XRP to essentially correct itself and see a bit of a drop in the price action, but it's not a massive drop necessarily. If we take a look at the 4-hour version of this, we can see it's actually in an upward momentum at the moment, okay, coming close to the oversold, but then reversing on us, and is above the mid-level at 50 at the minute. So it's actually at 55.26 at the point of recording, with the white line being the smoothing of K at 48. And so it is in a little bit more bullish scenario on the 4-hour time frame. But I think before we get there, we're probably going to be looking to retest some of these support levels. Now, with this move to the upside, it does to me look complete. Again, we're in those 5-wave structures. It's no surprise. I'm going to go ahead and just do the due diligence here and just check what that looks like. I'm going to actually have to do that slightly differently here. I'm going to go ahead and grab the top, just move that a little that way so I can actually get some depth on it. And here we can see we did hit 1.618. Sorry, guys. And we pushed down and we finished that final move up there. So what we've got going on here is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is after, of course, that zigzag pattern with the 2 5-wave moves over this side as well. So that is a reversal. So we could potentially go down a little bit deeper, for sure we could. And the typical range of expectations will be in this slightly lower range around 53 cents, which also happens to be this previous area of support as well. So we want to be aware of that. But for the most part, we are looking at for another 5-wave move to the upside, where we are looking to break above the 54.31 cents and maybe head out towards some of these higher ranges that we've been talking about for the last few days, around kind of 55.2 and 56 flat. So there's definitely some potential here for a bit of a break to the upside to come up into these higher range of expectations. This does not distract us, though, from the bigger bearish moves that are still playing out with the idea of coming down into these lower ranges. At the moment, we still have these higher lows on the 1-hour time frame, so we just want to be a little bit mindful over that. Now, if I were to trade this, what am I looking for? Well, because I think we are going to see a little bit of volatility here, but it's not massive amount, and we are seeing potentially more bullish momentum than bearish momentum, considering all the CPI data and everything that happened yesterday, we will probably be looking for a breakout or confirmed support on these low areas and go for a long position. Okay, so if we do get confirmed breakdown lower than the 50 EMA, then of course we'll go short on that. If we kind of get a bit of a fake out situation here, I'm going to be paying close attention to whether or not we can then get a close confirmation above the 50 EMA, 50 SMA for a long position. Okay, and likewise, if we can get closed positions, if we want to be super careful about the market, We'll be looking for closed positions above the 200 EMA for those long positions, target out those higher ranges, okay? And of course, stop losses lower than the 50 EMA to give us some depth to this. Now, in this particular scenario right here, this hypothetical, we would be looking at the kind of 54.07 cents for an entry. We'd be looking at stop loss at around kind of 53.46, and we'd be looking at take profit up in that slightly higher range at 55.24. Risk reward ratio on that scenario would be a 1.92, so it meets my 1.5 minimum expectations on my long trades and short trade. If I'm going to be trading, I'm going to be trading on BitGet or Bluefin, and Bluefin has some fantastic offers from campaigns running right now. Bluefin has an exclusive deal for the cheeky crypto community where new members can claim up to $10,000 in future bonuses, and to claim all you need to do is deposit and actively trade on the Bluefin exchange. Now, here's a few details that you need to know. For example, you can kind of see on the infographic here, depending on how much you deposit and trade, you'll have different levels of bonuses, starting at a $30 bonus for depositing $100 and trading $50,000 in volume, all the way through to $20,000 deposited and $35 million in volume, which is a $10,000 bonus. And obviously you can see all the various different levels in between. More details, of course, can be found using the link in the description down below, so go ahead and check that out. Trading volume is calculated based on taker volume only. Deposits are calculated by the amount transferred into the futures account, and minus, of course, any transfers out of the futures account. Users must meet both the deposit and the trading volume requirements to receive the corresponding rewards and bonuses. But yeah, guys, check it out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's a huge potential bonus to your trading. So if you are trading, why not check out Bluefin? Links in the description down below. I don't think you'll regret it. Okay, so the expectations on the smaller time frames are essentially this push to the upside, where we do kind of seek this kind of move up into that slightly higher range, but we want to see a confirmed breakout for that. Obviously, the swing low we expect to hold, so we're looking for 52.31 cent there to hold. We don't expect that to get lost at any time soon. Okay, so we do expect that to kind of hold out, considering the 5-wave pattern. The only way that this is kind of then explained to have a 5-wave pattern randomly like this would be under the scenario of a different kind of corrective pattern, which would have to be some kind of running flat or regular flat, something to that effect. But I don't expect that to be the case. So for the most part, we are kind of tracking quite nicely here for the 1-hour time frame on XRP. So let's go ahead and roll this up into a daily time frame. On the daily time frame here, we can see that we are looking for this lower range, but we might first, of course, hit that slightly higher range. So let me show you what this might look like, okay? Brief run to the upside, okay, and then a complete collapse down to this lower range, and then a complete breakout to the upside for the bigger macro picture for 75 to 85 cents. Now, there's lots of different factors at play here as to kind of how this kind of can play out. There's a few different scenarios. Of course, I'm tracking what I believe to be the most probable, which is that we do push up into this range between kind of 55 and 56 cents. Probably won't get a closed position above the 200 EMA. And if we do get a closed position above the 200 EMA, I will be looking very closely at that 50 EMA to see if we get a breakout above that as well, and then potentially go long, meaning that we can put to bed the idea of coming down once again into these lower ranges, of which, guys, we are looking for 48.42 to 51.05 on that lower range, just to kind of complete out our structure. The structure that we're tracking to the downside is a WX, Y, X, and Z pattern. That's kind of coming in here. So we are looking for a little relief rally and then a bit more of a move to the downside. This is all the corrective pattern on a bigger play. So I'll zoom this out, as you guys have probably seen this a number of times already, but we have the W, X, the Y, the X, and then we just look to finish off that Z off, and then we'll be looking for that run to the upside. Okay, so we are looking for 75 to 85 cents on the macro. That's kind of something that we are looking for, but we are seeing some volatility shifting around a little bit when it comes to the momentum. So we want to be a little bit mindful that XRP's price action might see some more volatility before we kind of get into those bigger swings. But, you know, there's a lot of hope that we can kind of get that through or across the line, you know, this year. If we can't, it's going to take some time to kind of play out. We might still consolidate down in the range, which we've been in. The structure that we're tracking here is going to remain very much bullish unless, of course, we break down lower than 38.23. If we lose the 38.23 cent area during, let's say, the Federal Reserve interest rate cuts, the pivot, if we lose that area, then we are going to unfortunately slip out of this bullish structure into a bearish one, and obviously the 75 to 85 cents is not going to play out under this structure. I still think long term we're not going to be in any bother whatsoever with XRP. It's just a case of, the volatility that we're seeing. Lots of trading opportunities on the smaller time frames. On the larger macro time frames, we are seeing some opportunities as well, but they are, of course, going to be a little bit more volatile considering everything that's going on from a real world aspect right now, with interest rates and being cut potentially in next week. That's going to have an impact, and of course there's the legal issues and all that kind of stuff going on as well in the background. So there's a lot of fundamental things going on, real world things that could impact the digital landscape here, but tracking the behaviors of the buyers and the sellers, we are still in that structure, and we are still tracking that 75 to 85 cents on XRP's price action. So that's going to wrap it up for today's video. If you found it useful, informative, smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe, and if you haven't done so already, guys, check this video out right here. It's not one you're going to want to miss.